Hi, I'm Michael Castner, and this is E! 60-Minute Look Inside Star Trek. Of course, your first clue is this really cool-looking little emblem. It's the new uniform. What do you think? We're trying them out here. The original Star Trek series left the air in 1969. In the 80s, the first 4 of 6 Star Trek feature films grossed more than $345 million, and that was just in the U.S. But even that wasn't enough to guarantee the saga another shot at television. It wasn't until 1987 that Star Trek The Next Generation had its debut. Turns out beaming Star Trek back onto the small screen was a stroke of programming genius. Star Trek The Next Generation consistently rates among the top 10-hour series on television and holds the #1 spot for syndicated drama. So sit tight. We're going to transport you to where it all happens, the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. Here it is, the bridge of the Starship Enterprise, home to Star Trek The Next Generation.
There's a certain mystique about being on the bridge. And I've seen it when friends of mine who are true fans come onto the bridge. There's a certain aura and it's quite nice, actually.
Here's what it looks like with all hands on board on shooting day.
Please.
And here's the man in the captain's chair, Jean-Luc Picard.
A Renaissance man, I think is a wonderful description of him, and he has grown into that in the course of these 7 years. A Renaissance man meaning what? A man of politics, of leadership, of culture, of education, of good taste.
Somewhere in there, give it a little extra beat. This sequence here that we're shooting now comes fairly close to the top of the show, and it's just kind of setting the stage for the events that follow. If you notice, our coverage is fairly simple on the bridge, because we want the show to start with a little bit of a slow pace, and then as the adventure increases, we pick up the pace and we do a lot more shots so we can cut faster and get a lot of different angles. But here we keep it kind of slow and easy so that by contrast, the other part looks more exciting.
Cut. Good. How about you, Chris?
Okay, that's a print. New deal, folks.
Playing around. It's all work here. All work.
Look at this. $35.95. Send your checks and money orders. Brent Spiner, Paramount Pictures. For your own padded apple box. Need another take?
Brent Spiner plays the role of Lieutenant Commander Data.
He's exactly what you think he is. He's Data, the lovable android, who is naive and childlike and super strong and super intelligent and just a genuinely nice character to play.
What was that line about this? About what rise? That makes me feel much better.
Yeah. The episode shooting today revolves around LeVar Burton's character, Lieutenant Geordi LaForge. Burton has directed some shows, so he pays close attention to every detail of his performance.
I just wanted to fix something in one of the speeches there about her being a starship captain.
Okay.
What do you feel? All right.
Choose up.
I had a bottle.
We're going again. Okay, settle, please. And action.
Am I crazy to think she's still alive? This is the first time in the over 6 years that we've been doing this show that we meet anyone from Geordi's past, and we finally meet his family, his mother and his father. There is a tragedy, there's an accident that happens, and one of my parents is believed dead. You guys weren't supposed to be here for that. You've blown my whole
all of it here.
No.
I feel bad about myself. I think I'll be depressed for the rest of the day.
You want on the line in the seated position, then rise.
I've allowed you to
take him up and then let him exit.
To see the secret.
Well, why shouldn't we grant them asylum?
We can't do that.
We've been concentrating on the guys, but women have made it into the 24th century too. They just haven't come as far as some might have hoped.
There is still an element that the men are the stronger sex, and that's a shame. That's a shame. But then you also have to remember that although we're doing a show that's based in the 24th century, we're shooting it in the 20th century, and television is a mirror to society. If we go too far in Star Trek, it's not going to be accepted by the people now.
The society is genetically integrated. Suddenly there would be gaps, missing pieces. There have been many times where I've thought, this is ridiculously sexist. But then I also see what an impact it has in a very positive way already, and that what Gene Roddenberry and the producers and writers have put together are actually very admirable female characters.
Will your nervous system be able to handle that much sensory input?
The Next Generation has dealt with all kinds of social issues during its 6 seasons on the air. The producer's willingness to address them is in large part responsible for the show's popularity.
I think there's a certain awareness of the need to address sexism and racism and equality. I think if we should be so lucky as to abide by the Prime Directive, it'd be a better place to live.
I have reviewed the vessel's mission plans. The Raman was to descend to the lowest atmosphere, 11,000 kilometers below its current position. The crew was to sample the atmosphere at that level and then return to a higher orbit.
All of the actors on The Next Generation come from a theater background. This training is especially handy when it comes to getting their lines out right.
It's helpful, I think, because the language is heightened. It's not your everyday conversation. I've always felt that Star Trek, the style of it was kind of a cross between Shakespeare and, you know, flying around the house with a towel around your neck, you know, pretending you're Superman. I mean, it's sort of the balance of the two.
It's a balancing act Star Trek The Next Generation pulls off with great ease.
Send it directly to the aft section of the Raman through the secondary airlock. That will put it just one bulkhead away from the bridge.
I'll interface with the probe as soon as it's in place, and then take it the rest of the way from there.
Make it so.
Make it so, Captain. When we come back, it's Roots reunion time on Star Trek The Next Generation.
I came here for that.